The second group, the magical passes for focusing tendon energy. 11. Clasping hands. Both forearms are brought forward in front of the navel. The bent elbows almost touch the rib cage. The hands are made to clasp, the left hand on top. The fingers of each hand grab the other hand forcefully. All the muscles of the arms and back are contracted. Then the tense muscles are relaxed, and the hands change positions so that the right hand is on top of the left. Without letting go of each other, using the hard part of the palm at the base of the fingers as a pivoting surface. The muscles of the arms and back are contracted again. The same movements are repeated, beginning with the right hand on top. 12. Left and right body clasp. The forearms are brought in front of the body, again at the level of the navel. This time, however, the right forearm is held extended out in a straight line with the hip. It is held close to the rib cage while the left forearm, with the elbow away from the body, puts the left hand over the right one in a clasping position. Great pressure is applied to the palms and the fingers of each hand by the tension of the muscles of the arms, the back, and the abdomen. The tension is relaxed, and the hands are made to pivot on each other's palms as they move across the body from right to left. There, they are forcefully clasped again, using the same muscles, this time with the right hand on top. The same movements are repeated from this position. 13. The sharp turn of the two bodies. The hands are clasped at the level of the waist, to the right. The left hand is on top of the right. In this magical pass, the squeeze of the hands is not as pronounced as the one in the two preceding ones, because what is sought is a sharp turn of the two bodies, rather than the sharp strikes of the two preceding passes. The clasped hands are made to draw a small circle to the right that goes from the front to the back and ends in the same position where it started. Since the leading hand is the left hand, by the fact that it is on top, the circle is drawn following the impulse of the left arm, which pushes the hands out first to the right and around in a circle to the right of the body. Then the clasped hands move across the front of the body to the left side. Another circle is drawn there, again following the impulse of the left hand. Being on top, it pulls the other hand to make a circle that goes to the back first, out to the left, and back to the place where it started. The same sequence of movements is performed with the right hand in the lead, starting at the left by the waist. This time, the impulse of the right arm is followed in order to draw the circle, which goes to the left first, and then back to the same place where it started. The clasped hands move across the front of the body to the right side by the waist. There, following the impulse of the leading hand, they are pulled back, then to the right, and back where they started, making a circle. It is important that as the circles are drawn, the trunk of the body is turned sharply to the side. The legs remain in the same position, without compensating for the turn by letting the knees sag. 14. Pushing clasped energy with the elbow and forearm. The hands are clasped by the right side at the level of the shoulder. The upper part of the right arm is held tight against the chest, and the elbow is sharply bent with the forearm held in a vertical position. With the palm of the right hand facing up, the back of the hand is held in a 90-degree angle with the forearm. The elbow of the left arm is extended in front of the left shoulder, held at a 90-degree position. The two hands clasp forcefully. The right arm slowly pushes the left one forward by straightening the elbow quite a bit. At the same time that the clasped hands are pushed forward, the left shoulder and shoulder blade are also pushed forward to maintain the 90-degree angle of the left elbow. The right arm retrieves the left hand to the initial position. The clasped hands are shifted to the left side by pivoting on the palms, and the same movements are repeated there. 15. The short stab with the hands clasped. The hands are clasped at the right side, just as in the preceding magical pass. This time, however, the hands are at the level of the waist, and the right arm, instead of slowly pushing the left one forward, stabs fast. It is a powerful movement that requires the contraction of the muscles of the arms and the back. The clasped hands are brought forcefully to the left, as if to augment the driving force of the left elbow, which is pushed all the way to the back. The clasped hands move around the front of the body to the right, as if to aid again a powerful movement of the right elbow, which is thrown all the way to the back. The same sequence of movements is performed by starting it on the left side with the right hand in the lead. It is important to note that when the clasped hands are stabbed to the front, the hand at the bottom gives the direction, but the force is supplied by the leading hand, which is on top. 16. Jolting energy with clasped hands. The hands are clasped to the right. The right elbow and upper arm are held against the side of the rib cage. The elbow of the right arm is at a 90-degree angle with the extended right forearm. The left elbow is also held at a 90-degree angle, at a straight line away from the left pectoral muscle. The right arm lifts the left one, changing the position of the elbows from a 90-degree angle to a 45. The clasped hands reach the level of the right shoulder. Then they are made to jolt with a very short movement in which only the wrist is involved. The clasped hands hit down, but without changing the level at which they are held. From there, the clasped hands are retrieved to the left near the waist in a forceful movement that makes the left elbow protrude at the back. The wrists are rotated and the hands made to pivot on each other, reversing their position. The same movements are repeated on the left. 17. Jolting energy by the knees. The hands are clasped to the right by the thigh. They change positions slightly by the supporting right hand, which is on the bottom, becoming slightly more vertical with a twist of the wrist, held in check by the pressure of the left hand. Both hands swing to the left, following the contour of the knees, and delivering a strike, the potency of which is enhanced by a downward pull of the wrists. The hands change position by rotating on each other's palms, and the same movements are repeated from left to right. 18. Driving down a spike of energy. The hands are clasped vertically with the left hand in the lead, at a point about a foot from the navel, right on the division line between the left and right bodies. Both hands are lifted a few inches with a slight jolt made by bending the wrists without moving the forearms. Then they are brought down with the same jolt of the wrists. This magical pass engages the deep muscles of the abdomen. The same movements are performed with the right hand in the lead. 19. Using the hands like a hatchet. The hands are clasped at the right. Both are lifted to the level of the shoulder. Then they deliver a diagonal strike that takes them to the level of the left hip. The same movements are done on the left. 20. Hammering a spike of energy. The hands are clasped at the right. They swing to the level of the shoulders, aided by a rotation of the trunk to the right, making a small vertical circle in front of the right shoulder. The hands are brought to the division line between the two bodies and down to the level of the waist, as if to hammer a spike of energy there. The same movements are done on the left side. The third group, the magical passes for building endurance. 21. Cutting energy in an arc. The hands are clasped on the right, tight against the crest of the hip bone. The left hand is on top of the right. The right elbow protrudes to the back, and the left forearm is held against the stomach. In a powerful extended strike, the clasped hands slice in a horizontal arc across the area in front of the body, as if going through a heavy substance. It's as if the hands were holding a knife or a sword or a cutting instrument that rips something solid in front of the body. All the muscles of the arm, the abdomen, the chest, and the back are used. The muscles of the legs are tensed to lend stability to the movement. On the left side, the hands are pivoted. The right hand is on top, in the lead, and another powerful cut takes place. 22. Slashing energy with a sword-like cut. The hands are clasped with the left hand on top of the right, in front of the right shoulder. A powerful jolt of the wrist and the arms make the hands move forward about a foot, delivering a powerful blow. From there, they cut across to a point on the left at the level of the shoulder. The end result is a movement that resembles cutting something heavy with a sword. From that point on the left, the arms change position by rotating, without losing their clasping position. The right hand takes the lead and gets on top, and again slashes across to a point about 2 feet away from the right shoulder. The initial position of the hands are changed, and the movements begin on the left. 23. Slashing energy with a diagonal cut. The clasped hands are raised to the level of the right ear and pushed forward, as if to stab something solid located in front of the body. From there, they slash down to a place about a foot away from the side of the left kneecap. On that point, the hands rotate at the wrists to change positions so that the right hand takes the lead on the top. It is as if the cutting instrument that the hands seem to be holding is made to change directions before it slashes from left to right, following the contour of the knees. The hands change place, and the whole sequence is done again, starting from the left. 24. Carrying energy from the right shoulder to the left knee. The clasped hands are held at waist level on the right. They change position slightly by the supporting right hand, which is on the bottom, becoming slightly more vertical with a twist of the wrist, which is held by the pressure of the left hand. The hands are quickly raised to a point by the top of the head on the right side. Leading with the elbow, they are brought down to shoulder level with great force. From there, they slash down in a diagonal cut to a place about a foot away from the left side of the kneecap. The strike is aided by a quick downward turn of the wrists. The hands pivot to change places, and the whole sequence is done again, starting from the left. 25. Slashing energy by the knees. The hands are clasped on the right side by the waist. They are brought in a powerful downward strike to the level of the knees as the trunk stoops forward slightly. Then they cut an arc in front of the knees from right to left to a point 4 or 5 inches away from the left side of the kneecap. Then the clasped hands are brought back forcefully to a point a few inches to the right of the right knee. The performance of both cutting strikes is aided by a very powerful jolt of the wrists. The same movements is performed starting by the waist on the left. In order to perform this magical pass correctly, practitioners need to engage, rather than the muscles of the arms and the legs, the deep muscles of the abdomen. 26. The digging bar of energy. The clasped hands are held in front of the stomach, with the left hand on top as the leading hand. They are shifted then to a vertical position in front of the stomach on the line that separates the two bodies. In a quick movement, they are brought to a point above the head, as if still following the same line. From there, they are made to strike down in a straight line to the place where the magical pass began. The hands change positions to have the right hand in the lead, and the movement is repeated. Don Juan called this movement stirring energy with a digging bar. 27. The big slash. The clasped hands start on the right by the waist. They are quickly raised above the head, over the right shoulder. The wrists jolt back to gain strength, and a powerful diagonal strike is delivered that slashes energy in front of the body, as if cutting through a sheet. The strike ends at a point 4 or 5 inches to the left of the knee. The same movement is repeated starting from the left. 28. The sledgehammer. With the left hand in the lead, the hands are clasped together in front of the stomach on the vertical line that divides the left and the right bodies. The palms are held vertical for an instant before the hands are brought to the right of the body and above the head to hang for another instant by the neck, as if holding a heavy sledgehammer. They move over the head in a deliberate and powerful swing and are brought to bear on the spot from which they began to move, exactly as if the hands themselves were a heavy sledgehammer. The hands change positions and the same movements are started on the left. 29. Cutting a circle of energy. The hands are clasped by the right shoulder to begin this magical pass. Then they are pushed forward as far as the right arm can go without fully extending the elbow. From there, the clasped hands cut a circle the width of the body from right to left, as if they were indeed holding a cutting instrument. In order to perform this movement, the left leading hand, which is on top, must reverse positions when it reaches the turn of the circle on the left. With the hands still clasped, they flip at the turn of the circle so that the right hand takes the lead by being on top and finishes drawing the circle. The same sequence of movements is performed, starting on the left, with the right hand in the lead. 30. The back and forth slash. The hands are clasped on the right, with the left hand in the lead. A powerful blow pushes the hands forward, about 2 feet away from the chest. Then they slash, as if they were holding a sword, as far to the left as the arms allow them, without completely extending the elbows. There, the hands change positions. The right hand becomes the leading hand on top, and a counter slash is performed, which takes the clasped hands all the way to a point on the right side, a few inches to the right of where this magical pass started. The same sequence of movements is repeated, starting on the left, with the right hand in the lead. The 6th series. Devices used in conjunction with specific magical passes. As previously stated, the shamans of ancient Mexico put a special emphasis on a force they called tendon energy. Don Juan said that they asserted that vital energy moves along the body via an exclusive track formed by tendons. I asked Don Juan if by tendon he meant the tissue that attaches the muscles to the bones. I am at a loss to explain tendon energy, he said. I'm following the easy path of usage. I was taught that it's called tendon energy. If I don't have to be specific about it, you understand what tendon energy is, don't you? In a vague sense, I think I do, Don Juan, I said. What confuses me is that you use the word tendon where there are no bones, such as the abdomen. The old sorcerers, he said, gave the name of tendon energy to a current of energy that moves along the deep muscles from the neck down to the chest and arms and the spine. It cuts across the upper and lower abdomen from the edge of the rib cage to the groin, and from there it goes to the toes. Doesn't this current include the head, Don Juan? I asked, bewildered. As a Western man, I expected that anything of this sort would have originated in the brain. No, he said emphatically. It doesn't include the head. What comes from the head is a different kind of energy current, not what I am talking about. One of the formidable attainments of sorcerers is that in the end, they push out whatever exists in the center of energy located at the top of the head. And then they anchor the tendon energy of the rest of their bodies there. But this is a paragon of success. At the moment, what we have at hand, as in your case, is the average situation of tendon energy beginning at the neck at the place where it joins the head. In some cases, tendon energy goes up to a point below the cheekbones, but never higher than that point. This energy, he went on, which I call tendon energy for a lack of a better name, is a dire necessity in the lives of those who travel in infinity or want to travel in it. Don Juan said that the traditional beginning in the utilization of tendon energy was the use of some simple devices which were employed by the shamans of ancient Mexico in two ways. One was to create a vibratory effect on specific centers of tendon energy, and the other was to create a pressure effect on the same centers. He explained that those shamans considered the vibratory effect to be the agent for loosening the energy which has become stagnant. The second effect, the pressure effect, was thought to be the agent that disperses the energy. What seems to be a cognitive contradiction for modern man, that vibration would loosen anything that was stuck and that pressure would disperse it, was deeply emphasized by Don Juan Matus, who taught his disciples that what appears to be natural to us in terms of our cognition of the world is not at all natural in terms of the flow of energy. He said that in the world of everyday life, human beings would crack something with a blow or by applying pressure and disperse it by making it vibrate. However, energy which had become lodged in a tendon center had to be rendered fluid through vibration, and then it had to be pressed so that it would continue flowing. Don Juan Matus was horrified at the idea of directly pressing points of energy in the body without the preliminary vibration. His contention was that energy that was stuck would get even more inert if pressure were applied to it. Don Juan started off his disciples with two basic devices. He explained that the shamans of ancient times used to search for a pair of round pebbles or dry, round seed pods and use them as vibratory and pressure devices to aid in manipulating the flow of energy in the body, which they believed becomes periodically stuck along the tendon track. However, the round pebbles that shaman practitioners normally used were definitely too hard, and the seed pods too fragile. Other objects that those shamans searched for avidly were flat rocks the size of the hand, or pieces of heavy wood, in order to place them on specific areas of tendon energy on their abdomens while they were lying flat on their backs. The first area is just below the navel. Another is right on top of the navel. And another yet on the area of the solar plexus. The problem with using rocks or other objects is that they have to be heated or cooled to approximate the temperature of the body. And besides, these objects are usually too stiff, and they slide and move around. Tensegrity practitioners have found a much better equivalent to the devices of the shamans of ancient Mexico. A pair of round balls and a small, flat, circular leather weight. The balls are the same size as the ones used by those shamans, but they are not fragile at all. They are made of a mixture of Teflon reinforced by a ceramic compound. This mixture gives the balls a weight, a hardness, and a smoothness, which are thoroughly congruous with the purpose of the magical passes. The other device, the leather weight, has been found to be an ideal device for creating a steady pressure on centers of tendon energy. Unlike rocks, it is pliable enough to adapt itself to the contours of the body. Its leather cover makes it possible to be applied directly to the body without needing to be warmed or cooled. However, its most remarkable feature is its weight. It is light enough to cause any discomfort, and yet heavy enough to aid some specific magical passes that foster inner silence by pressing centers on the abdomen. Don Juan Mates said that a weight placed on any of the three areas mentioned above engages the totality of one's energy fields, which means a momentary shedding off of the internal dialogue, the first step toward inner silence. The modern devices used in conjunction with specific magical passes are divided by their very nature into two categories. The first category of magical passes that use the help of a device consists of 16 magical passes aided by the Teflon balls. 8 of these magical passes are performed on the left arm and wrist, and 8 on the points of the liver and gallbladder, the pancreas and spleen, the bridge of the nose, the temples, and the crown of the head. The sorcerers of ancient Mexico considered the first 8 magical passes to be the first step toward the liberation of the left body from the unwarranted domination of the right body. 1. The first movement pertains to the outer side of the main tendon of the biceps of the left arm. A ball is applied to that hollow spot and made to vibrate by moving it back and forth with a slight pressure. In the second movement, a ball is held in the hollow palm of the right hand, with the thumb holding it securely. A firm but light pressure is applied to the ball, which is made to rub from the left wrist to a point 1 hand's width away from the wrist. The ball is rubbed back and forth in the canal created by the tendons of the wrist. 3. The ball is lightly pressed at a point on the left forearm, a hand's width away from the wrist. 4. A moderate pressure is applied at the wrist of the left arm, with the index finger of the right hand on a spot next to the head of the forearm bone. The right thumb anchors the hand on the inside of the wrist and moves the hand back and forth. 5. The ball is applied to the inner side of the tendon of the left biceps, and it is made to vibrate with a slight pressure. 6. A vibration is applied to the hollow spot at the back of the elbow to the left of the elbow proper. The palm of the left hand is twisted and turned outward to allow maximum opening of that area. The ball is rubbed there. 7. Moderate pressure is applied to a spot in the middle of the upper left arm, on the hollow spot where the triceps joins the bone. 8. The left elbow is bent sharply and is rolled forward, engaging the left shoulder blade to disperse tendon energy to the whole left body. The remaining 8 magical passes of this category pertain to the upper body and 3 centers of energy: the gallbladder and liver, the pancreas and spleen, and the head. 9. The balls are held with both hands, pressed and pushed deeply upward, but with only slight pressure, just under the sides of the rib cage by the liver and the pancreas. Then they are made to vibrate firmly but lightly on those areas. 10. The ball held with the right hand is applied then with a slight pressure to the area just above the sinus between the eyebrows and is made to vibrate there. 11. Both balls are applied to the temples and made to vibrate lightly. 12. The ball held with the right hand is applied to the very top of the head and is made to vibrate there. 13 through 16. The same sequence is repeated, but instead of being made to vibrate, the balls are pressed against those centers of energy. During this second set of movements, both balls are pressed on the sides of the rib cage by the liver and the pancreas. Then the ball held with the left hand is pressed on the area above the sinus. Both balls are pressed on the temples, and then the ball held with the left hand is pressed on the top of the head. The second category. The second category comprises the uses of the leather weight for the purpose of creating a steady pressure on a larger area of tendon energy. There are 2 magical passes used in conjunction with the leather weight. The hand positions for both of these magical passes are shown here with the practitioner standing. The actual practice of these magical passes is performed lying flat on the back, with the leather weight pressing right above the navel, or on either of the other 2 choice spots on the abdomen, below the navel or above it by the solar plexus. If placing the weight on them is more comfortable. 17. The 5 points of silence around the chest. The little fingers of both hands are placed on the edges of the rib cage, about 2 inches from the tip of the sternum, and the thumbs are extended as far up on the chest as possible. The remaining 3 fingers fall evenly spread in the space between the thumb and the little finger. A vibratory pressure is exerted with all 5 fingers of each hand. 18. Pressing the midpoint between the rib cage and the crest of the hip bone. The little finger and the 4th finger of each hand rest on the crests of the hips, while the thumbs rest on the lower edge of the rib cage on each side. Slight pressure is applied on those 2 points. The index and middle fingers automatically press points midway between the crests of the hips and the edge of the rib cage. The end.